The cult, known to some as the Sisters of the Eclipse, had long been the stuff of whispered legends in the region, originating decades ago. The group was shrouded in mystery, their practices known only to a select few. They were said to be a woman-only cult, bound by blood and ritual, with a history of strange disappearances and unexplained deaths linked to their name. Their meetings were always held under the cover of night, deep within the forests where no one would dare to go. It was rumored that they preyed on the lost and the lonely, luring them into the woods with promises of enlightenment, only for those poor souls to vanish without a trace. Some said the cult performed ancient rituals, drawing power from the wilderness and the fear of their victims. Others believed they were involved in something far darker, their practices hidden beneath a veil of secrecy that no outsider could penetrate. For years, authorities had been unable to gather enough evidence to link the group to any crimes. They operated in the shadows, their members blending seamlessly into society by day and disappearing into the forest by night. The few who had stumbled upon them, hikers, hunters, and the occasional thrill seeker, had either gone missing or been found days later, their minds shattered and memories blank. The local police had their suspicions, but without solid proof, there was little they could do. The Sisters of the Eclipse remained a ghost story, a terrifying possibility that lurked just beyond the edges of the known world. As the early morning mist settled over the dense forest, Sarah Thompson decided to take her usual hike along the familiar trail. The forest had always been her escape, a place where she could clear her mind and enjoy the serenity of nature. But on this particular day, something felt different. The further she jogged, the more uneasy she became. It wasn't just the stillness of the woods or the absence of the usual bird songs. It was a sense that she wasn't alone. As she rounded a bend, she saw something that made her heart skip a beat. Through the trees, just a short distance off the trail, two women stood in a small clearing, their figures faintly illuminated by the glow of flickering candles placed in a circle around them. They were chanting in low voices, their hands raised to the sky, as if calling upon something or someone. Sarah froze, her instincts telling her to turn back, but curiosity held her in place. She watched, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. It wasn't long before she realized she was witnessing some kind of ritual. Unease quickly turned to fear. Her heart racing, Sarah quickly fumbled for her phone and dialed 911. With trembling fingers, she described the scene to the dispatcher, trying to convey the urgency of the situation. There are two women in the woods, doing something strange like a ritual or something. It's terrifying. Please, you have to send someone. After giving her location as best as she could, Sarah ended the call, but instead of waiting there, a sense of fear propelled her into action. She decided it would be safer to get back to the main trail, to find someone who could help. After what felt like an eternity, she burst onto the main trail, nearly colliding with a park ranger who was patrolling the area. Gasping for breath and wide-eyed with fear, she grabbed the ranger's arm. "Help! You have to come quickly," Sarah gasped, trying to catch her breath. "There are two women back there, doing something wrong. I don't know what it is, but it's not normal. Please, you have to come." Sarah led him back through the forest. When they reached the clearing again, the women were still deep in their ritual, completely oblivious to the fact that they were being watched. The ranger's expression darkened as he took in the scene, and he immediately reached for his radio. "This isn't something I can handle alone. We need the police out here," he muttered, his hand already on the radio as he called for backup. But as he spoke, he realized that Sarah was no longer beside him. He turned, confusion flickering across his face when he saw that she had vanished without a trace. Puzzled but focused on the task at hand, he decided to stay and keep an eye on the women while waiting for the police to arrive. A few tense minutes passed, with the ranger keeping a watchful eye on the two women. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he noticed movement through the trees. A police officer emerged from the shadows, his expression serious. The ranger quickly briefed him on the situation, and together they cautiously approached the two women. The officer kept his hand near his weapon, ready for anything, while the ranger led the way, eyes locked on the strange scene before them. As they moved closer, the officer suddenly felt a presence behind him, but before he could react, something soft and chemical smelling was pressed against his face. As he struggled to pull away, his vision blurred, and he collapsed to the ground unconscious. The ranger, too focused on the two women ahead, didn't notice the officer's sudden fall. Before he could fully comprehend what was happening, Sarah reappeared behind him, her movements silent and swift. She pressed the same cloth against his face, and the ranger barely had time to register the attack before his vision darkened and he crumpled to the ground, joining the unconscious officer. Standing over the ranger, she quickly reached down, grabbing the ranger's walkie-talkie, pressing the button. She calmly spoke into it, her voice steady and composed. "Dispatch, this is Ranger 17. Everything is under control here. No need for additional backup." Satisfied, she dropped the walkie-talkie beside the unconscious ranger and walked over to the two women without exchanging a word. The three women disappeared into the forest together, their figures swallowed by the deepening twilight. This was a case that was never solved, and these cult members are still out there, their true identities and intentions shrouded in mystery.